Was that really Quinn? Vorden asked. What happened to him? He looked so ugly, Raten said. You do know he will be like that for a while now, Raten said. Vorden then stopped walking forward as he had reached the torn-apart body on the floor in the stands. All that was left of Ian was his 2 legs that had been torn from the waist down. Hey, wait! Check the man's trousers. He had that advanced tier beast crystal, don't you remember? Now that he's dead, we may as well take it. Although Vorden didn't like disrespecting the dead and didn't often agree with Raten, in this case it made sense to not let such a precious thing go to waste. After searching Ian's trousers, though, there was no such luck, and no crystal was found. Do you really think it's a good idea to follow that thing? Raten asked. I need to see if that thing was really Quinn. You know, if I don't, the little one will punish us. Vorden then looked around and held out his hand, attracting one of the chairs from the stands, and held it in his hands. He held it in front of him like a shield as he walked forward. The bloodsucker continued to drag Ian's body across the floor, looking for somewhere safe to eat its meal. It turned and turned several corridors until it finally arrived at what looked like resting quarters. 35 of 100, 42 of 100. As the beast continued to suck Ian's blood, a notification screen appeared slowly, rising up until eventually the number had hit 100. 100 of 100. Sufficient blood has been consumed. Transformation will now end. Your mind is starting to stabilize. Just then, shooting pain once again started to enter Quinn's body, only this time it was starting to revert back to normal. His claw-like hands began to shrink down and go back to shape to what they once were. His incredibly tight skin softened around his body and face. His ears were no longer pointed, and his teeth too returned to normal, and finally, the white in his eyes could be seen once again. Then, images started to flash into his head. Everything that he had done while he was the bloodsucker. Even though he had no control, he felt like he was there every step of the way. Vorden, what's he doing here? Then more images started to flash into his head, and finally, he remembered slicing a man in half. That was me! First human killed. High-level user detected. Reward, instant level up. Congratulations, you are now level 10. Evolution process has begun. Evolution process? Just then, Quinn's heart started pounding harder than before. His veins all around his body started to show as the blood rushed through. Quinn could feel every little part of his body, but it wasn't a nice feeling. It felt like his blood was made of spikes as it went through and around his body. He could feel it tearing everything apart. Just then, a footstep was heard entering the room. Vorden had arrived. Quinn? Get away! Quinn groaned out as the pain continued to shoot through his whole body. Maybe I can help. I said get away. Quinn's voice sounded deep and dark as he lifted his head. Vorden could see his eyes were now glowing red. Hey, Vorden, I think you better listen to the kid. He could be turning into that thing again, Raten said. But it was too late. Vorden had taken one step too many and was now within striking distance. Quinn lashed out, flinging his arm at Vorden. However, he was able to lift his metal chair up in time, blocking the attack, but it didn't do too much. The metal chair was immediately ripped by Quinn's hands, and the attack managed to craze Vorden's chest, flinging him backwards. Blood! Quinn screamed. Give me blood! What did I tell you? That chair was useless, Raten complained. Quick, seal the door shut! Vorden no longer hesitated, and using his abilities, he pulled the broken door back in place and using all his powers, quickly sealed it up. Quinn was no longer chasing after Vorden, but instead knelt on the floor, crying in pain. Vorden stayed there with his hands held up, holding the door in place, fear that whatever was inside or whatever was happening to Quinn would come out again and attack him. The screams continued for a good 15 minutes until they eventually died down and stopped. Quinn? Vorden called out softly, hoping not to startle him. Is everything okay? Yeah, Quinn replied. Just give me a few moments. I'll let you know when it's okay. Congratulations, evolution was successful. You are now a vampire. Level 10. Race, vampire. 0 of 100 EXP. HP 60 of 60. Strength 15. Agility 15. Stamina 15. Charm 5. Blood family bonus 0. Just looking at his status screen alone, so much had changed. Quinn had yet to put his extra stat point, but it seemed like 2 more options were added to the stats screen. The first one being the charm stat, and the second being a blood family bonus. Although with no explanation, Quinn was clueless to what these two things did. Now that he was a vampire instead of a halfling, what happened when he stepped into the sun? Skill, blood ritual unlocked. 0 of 2 members. New skill, daze. This skill has no cost and can be used on the opponent to stun them between 0.2 seconds and 0.5 seconds at a time. Must have direct eye contact with the opponent. The skill has a chance of failing, depending on the strength of the enemy and on the user's charm points. The more the skill is used on an opponent, the higher chance they have of resisting. But the messages didn't stop there. Shop has been unlocked. New tutorials have been unlocked. System level 2 will now activate. Congrats, the man said. You have now officially joined the family. I thought maybe a simple human wouldn't be able to make it this far, but it looks like my little experiment was a success. Now that the system has been upgraded to level 2, I had a good friend of mine install an AI system with my voice. It's amazing, right? Now you'll never feel alone again, and if you ever have a question about the system, just ask. What? Quinn thought. Why wasn't the system like this from the beginning? Now you're probably thinking, why didn't I design it this way from the very beginning? The truth is, you needed to be able to get this far on your own. I'm sorry, but now that you are a vampire, others will come looking for you. They have already blended into society, so it's almost impossible to tell who is one and who isn't. If you want to live a life of freedom as I did, then get stronger, create a force of your own, and fight back. Good luck, my friend. I'm really not human anymore, am I? Before Quinn was to check out all the new things the system had revealed, there was one more problem he needed to face, and it was on the other side of the door. It was time to confront Vorden.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.